Good morning. Good nearly afternoon because it's 10 o'clock. But I spent the morning snuggling with my daughter and watching some holiday themed movies. I wanted to take some time this morning, first of all, to wish you guys a Merry Winter Solstice, Merry Yule, Merry Yuletide blessings. This is the start of the Christmas season. Some people start yesterday because Yule is like a 3-day festival, typically from the 20th to the 22nd. There's also traditions that celebrate for a whole 12 days. There's a lot of corresponding themes in Christmas and in Yule and in, I think it's pronounced Saturnalia, and in Hanukkah and in Diwali. There's a lot of holidays that are happening this time of year, and they're all about the return of the light. And so I wanted to take just some time to talk about kind of the running themes that this season has and the things that I personally focus on. So as with most pagan traditions, all pagan traditions, we often look to nature for guidance on the things that we should be focusing on, the lessons that we should be learning. And this particular season, we've gone from Samhain, which is the end of October, which they often call Witch's New Year, where the sun dies, the sun god dies, and goes into the underworld, and the world goes into hibernation. And then the solstice is the birth of the sun and the return of life from that slumber, starting to grow anew. So this time of year we focus on the blessings of light. We call forward the blessings of light. We focus on aspects of eternal life, hence the evergreen trees and the holly and the mistletoe, all of those things having such a present theme that runs through much of the traditions that exist this time of year. And we also spend some time focused on shadows. And by shadows, I mean those aspects of self that we find to be unworthy or unbecoming, or that we fear that others will find to be unworthy or unbecoming. Those parts of ourselves that we dislike or that we pretend don't exist, or that we try to stuff down because we're worried about social recourse if people knew about those things, or we have guilt associated with them because of social constructs or family beliefs or even our own beliefs. So I wanted to chat a little bit about some of these things. So there's a quote I want to read from The Living Temple of Witchcraft, Volume 1, The Descent of the Goddess. And this talks about how our modern saying of the goddess is, she changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. We become the agents of change simply by being on this level of a crossroads consciousness. Change and mirroring are not always welcome by the general population, for they are both hard to bear, as those who bring change by our very nature. It is one of the reasons why witches, even in classical pagan times, have been thought of less than kindly or even fully revealed. From our modern perspective, we can say that the archetypical witches force people to see the dark, to see the shadows, and witches show people that it is up to them to take responsibility for their own darkness, because no one else will do it. Yet few see it that way, and they blame the messenger, thus the persecution of witches. So, because my reading was stumbled there, let me just paraphrase that the path of witchcraft or heathenry or Wicca or whatever one calls their practice, the path of pagan practice is a constant evaluation of self, an evaluation of the world, and the decision to shift one's behavior away from the things that we don't like, and embrace a life that we do like. And for that reason, because like attracts like, people who are vibrationally not interested in looking at themselves and analyzing themselves and changing behavior that they know that they are doing that is unhelpful, will often be put off by someone living in that vibration. And also when we shift our own behavior, even though we're not making statements about other people, sometimes other people take it as a statement. For instance, when I was 25, I realized that I was drinking quite heavily and that I was feeling miserable all the time, and I was constantly dealing with a lot of drama because the people I was spending time with. I don't have a problem with alcohol. I don't have a problem with people who drink, and I even sometimes do drink alcohol, but during this time I chose to separate myself from that behavior, and the people that I was spending time with took offense. They took it as a statement against them, when in reality it was never a statement against them, because perhaps my behavior of self-analyzation held up a mirror for them that made them uncomfortable. This happens when we make religious decisions. This happens when we make lifestyle changes. I've announced that I'm moving to Arizona. There are people that are not stoked about that. They're sad to see that I'm leaving Oregon and think, how could you ever not want to be in this beautiful place? There are other beautiful places that I want to explore. It's not a negative statement about Oregon. It's just a statement about my own life. So the themes of this holiday are facing those shadows, looking at parts of self that you are uncomfortable with and analyzing why you're uncomfortable with them, and seeing if you need to shift your behavior or if you need to shift your mindset, because perhaps the part of you that you don't like, the part of you that you think is not acceptable or is negative, is really valuable and important and makes you who you are, and the guilt that you have associated with that is because of social constructs that you need to let go of. So analyzing shadows is not necessarily a bad thing. There's also this theme that occurs of life and death, right? This time of year there is an epic battle between the Holly King and the Oak King, where the Oak King has died, right? The leaves have fallen. The Oak King has descended into the underworld, and the Holly King reigns because the Holly King is an evergreen, everlasting life, present regardless of the change of season. But now the Oak King is being reborn, and there's a battle for power. And the Oak King is bigger and mightier and has that lesson of shedding what no longer serves, and for that reason is overcomingly the winner and brings new life forward, brings transition, brings new beginning forward again. So it's a good time to sort of look at the themes in your life or the behaviors that are no longer serving you and shed them, which is something we do over and over and over again throughout the year in witchcraft and pagan practice. And the last subject that I wanted to talk about is mortality and immortality. So we again have this reoccurring theme of life cycle of death and rebirth. It's also important to take a step back and look at the parts of you that are mortal, right? Like beauty, for instance, athletic ability, strength. These are amazing qualities that people have, but they are mortal qualities. When they die, these qualities go with them. And then it's important to take a moment to look at your immortal qualities. Things like your kindness, your wisdom, your support, your love. Those themes, those things, those qualities that will continue beyond you, that will live immortally in your memory. And then to take a moment to see the value in both your mortal and your immortal qualities, and then to fuse them together and realize that you are the sum of all parts, not individual parts. So those are just some things to reflect on today. My family will be sitting next to a fire, and by fire I mean several candles, to represent connection to the sun. With my 4-year-old, we're going to have an epic battle of the Holly King and the Oak King. And of course, the Oak King, who my 4-year-old will represent, will be victorious. And then my husband and I will do some mortal immortal work this evening. So I just want to encourage you to do whatever feels right today and through the next couple days, because Christmas is totally a part of all of these traditions. We like to, because of different belief systems, pretend that they're separate, but it's all together, and the themes run together, and they're beautiful ideology that we can all celebrate. I want to remind you to drink some water, to look yourself in the eyes in the mirror and remind yourself that you are valuable and you are amazing and you are perfect just as you are. And I want you to find some joy in the returning of the sun and the holiday season. And even if you're alone, you're not alone, because I'm with you. We're all with you, offering you love, support, and blessings on this winter solstice.